Welcome dear students to yet another lecture on English language and literature. And today we shall discuss the last topic of our unit 3 of our syllabus, and the topic is environmentalism. Environmentalism is a social movement that focuses on conservation, preservation and restoration of environment. So environmentalism is conservation, preservation and restoration of the environment. What is conservation of the environment? Conservation of the environment involves protection of the natural resources. It is the proper use of natural resources. So conservation is the proper use of the natural resources. It is an attempt to make human relationship with the environment sustainable. It supports measures that reduce human use of natural resources. It can be simply said as the effort to consume less. Consume less. Conservation will help in the continued existence and growth of human beings. So it is using less. Now what is preservation of environment? The preservation of environment means the protection of the landscape, the protection of the objects of the environment. It means setting aside areas that are either human free or where there are only native people, setting aside that particular area. Policies of preservation will include banning of construction of roads or banning of construction of dams, etc. Now the wildlife is seen as an end in itself, not only when it can help humans. Wildlife is an end in itself, it has to be preserved. The third thing is restoration of environment. Restoration. Environmental restoration or ecological restoration is the process of recovery of ecosystem. Recovery of ecosystem. Ecosystems are dynamic communities of plants, animals and microcosms interacting with each other. Ecosystem. The ecosystem can be damaged. The ecosystem can be degraded or destroyed. Restoration is accelerating recovery following damage, degradation or destruction. So it is a recovery, restoration of the environment. Thus environmentalism tries to strike a balance between the natural ecosystem and the man. The natural ecosystem and the man. There are so many environmental pollutions. We have learned about them in our environmental studies. Pollution is the contamination of the natural environment that can cause adverse change. Pollution can take the form of chemical substances or energy, such as noise, heat or light. Pollutants, the components of pollution, can be either from foreign substances, energies or naturally occurring contaminants. So toxin materials or industrial waste, sewage, electronic waste, etc. are dumped into the environment. These can cause soil pollution, this can cause noise pollution, there can be thermal pollution, water pollution, etc. The environmental pollution is aggravated with the industrial revolution. The awareness of the environmental pollution can lead people to take measures to protect the environment. So environmentalism will involve protection from pollution as well. The back to nature movement, and the back to land movement preceded modern environmentalism. Back to nature movement, nothing new. That was the title. Back to nature movement, nothing new. It dates back to 1880. And the back to the land movement, the pastoral impulse in England, it is from 1880 to 1914. George Bernard Shaw, Ruskin, William Morris, etc. were members of these movements that preceded environmentalism. Let's also mention another little concept called ecocriticism. Ecocriticism. What is ecocriticism? Ecocriticism is a study of literature and environment from an interdisciplinary point of view. Study of literature and environment. All sciences come together to analyze the environment and identify possible solutions for the correction of the contemporary environmental situation. So all sciences will come together to study and correct the problems in the environmental situation. Ecocriticism investigates the relations between humans and the natural world in literature. It deals with how environmental issues, how cultural issues concerning the environment and attitudes towards nature are presented and analyzed. One of the main goals in eco-criticism is to study how individuals in society behave and react in relation to nature and ecological aspects. Now, this form of criticism, eco-criticism, has gained a lot of attention during the recent years due to higher social emphasis on environmental destruction and increased technology. It is hence a fresh way of analyzing and interpreting literary texts, which will bring new dimensions to the field of literary and theoretical studies. Eco-criticism is an intentionally broad approach that is known by a number of other designations, by a number of other names as well. It is also called as green or green studies or green culture studies. It is also known as eco-poetics. It is also known as environmental literary criticism. Now, American eco-criticism has gained inspiration from three transcendentalist writers, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Margaret Fuller, and Henry David Thoreau. The British version of eco-criticism is spearheaded by Jonathan Bate. So, my dear students, we are concluding our third unit with this lecture. I want to remind all of you to listen to the lectures and to prepare your own notes. It will help you to prepare for your examinations. Have a joyful learning. Please stay safe at home. Have a nice time. Thank you.